Well, it started in 1870 with John Marlin. He opened a small shop in New Haven. For approximately 10 or 11 years, he concentrated on handguns. About 1880, he had his first rifle, the model 1881, in the plant that we occupied for many years on Willow Street in New Haven. The company failed in the early 20s. It was picked up in 1924 by the Canay family, and they bought the company for $100,000 open mortgage, and then ran the company through the 20s, through the Depression years in the 30s, and the war period. And after the war, I think the serious growth began and continues.
We're at the very beginning of the life of a lever-action rifle. This is the receiving area, and the big broaches are behind us. The creation of a lever-action rifle, first thing we do is take the receiver forging and put it on these enormous broaches and start shaving metal off it to get it closer to the shape of the finished product. This goes into the broach, and then let me take the piece that you have. This is what the part looks like when it comes off the broach. It's actually shaving the initial surface off of this part to get it ready for further machining and drilling and grinding and sanding and so forth. These forgings come in weighing 5.5 pounds, and by the time we're done doing all of our stuff to them, they weigh 1.5 pounds.
Wow, that's a lot of metal coming off here.
A lot of metal out, right.
I believe over 60 operations go into making that receiver from a forging. Tony, it looks like we have a pretty good overview of what happens to a receiver here at Marlin.
We do. This pretty much tells the story. This is the forging I showed you initially, and that's the forging after that first broach cut that we talked about. And then it goes through these various other operations until it gets down to 1.5 pounds from 5.5 pounds. We're in the barrel department now, Mike, and we've got the uncut bar stock on that side of us. These are rough cut barrels right after they've cut off to the proper length, and they've had the chamber area machined on this end. Next thing will happen, they'll be drilled, they'll be rifled, and they'll be turned down to the proper diameter.
Well, looking at this, it looks like it's going to be a round barrel, but I know that Marlin makes octagonal barrel guns. Is there a different process for that?
Yes, it's a very different process. The drilling is the same, the rifling is the same, but creating the actual octagon surfaces is quite different.
At the moment we're making octagon barrels primarily for cowboy rifles, for the sport of cowboy action shooting.
Here's a finished barrel after we've done all of our processes. It's been drilled, it's been rifled, it's been threaded to go into the receiver. It has a dovetail cut for the rear sight, dovetail cuts for the magazine tube, and it's got a flat here to fit into the receiver. We do all the operations in making the barrel here. We drill the bore, we rifle the bore, and we cut the profile, whether it's going to be a heavy target type barrel or a sporter type barrel. We also make octagon barrels. Each of these surfaces is put on with a sanding machine and has the index to cut the next one. There are 8 passes that tool has got to make to create this barrel.
So basically, whether it be round or octagonal barrels, you guys do the entire manufacturing process from start to finish right here.
We do everything.
Committed, established machines, what I think would term a previous generation to the new technology today, is very hard to beat for high run, high volume production. They're committed to do a specific operation or a couple of specific operations. The newer equipment, versatility would be the strength of the new equipment.
All right, what are we looking at here?
We're looking at our one and only robot. Our robot does 4 fine sanding operations to our lever action receivers with, I think, about 180 grit sandpaper. It performs the final sanding operations on our lever action receivers. There are 4 different operations, and then it takes the receiver over and gives it a final buffing. It takes, I think, 4 to 5 minutes per receiver. Does one at a time.
Tony, at this stage, we have pretty much a fully machined receiver. What happens next?
Fully machined, it now comes into, this is called the heat treat room, where the receiver is heated up in a salt bath to 1550 degrees for 7 minutes. And they come out and they are quenched in a about 500 degree solution, and they go from there to a cooler solution until they're back to room temperature.
So basically, once it's gone through this process, is it a finished receiver?
Yes.
Ready for assembly?
That's right.
Tony, Marlins are known for their good wood-to-metal fit. Why don't you tell me something about that process?
Machines we just looked at, called the Zuckermans, are copying sanding machines that make these stocks the way you see them right now against a master. There's a master in the middle and sandpaper belts to follow the master and create very accurate buttstocks and forearms. They're then put on a checkering machine which cuts this checkering 17 lines to the inch. Most guns get cut checkering, 17 line to the inch cut checkering, which is also completely automated. 8 or 10 of those are done at a time.
Okay, now we have a fully assembled gun. Do you just throw it in a box and send it on, or what happens to it?
No, it comes into this room, which we call the gallery, for proof firing, function firing, and sighting in, at least getting the gun on the paper. Every finished rifle goes into what we call the gallery, and there it is first proof fired in a heavy steel proof box. Proof is an overload, and it's designed to prove that the action is strong enough to handle even a load that is more powerful than a factory load. The box is sealed hydraulically. This is pulled to fire the gun, and this is just to be sure that it stays in one piece when it's fired with a real excessive load. And they all do. From there it goes across the room in the gallery to the targeting area, where every rifle is fired at a target at 90 feet, and it's brought into what we call the black, which is about a 3-inch circle. When a customer opens his gun box, he can go to the range and know that he's at least on the paper, and then he can fine-tune from there.
Well, I think today we dominate the lever action market, and I think we have done that by offering quality and a reasonable price over time. We also, I think, have done many, many variations to address the various niche markets in the lever action category. We have a multitude of calibers today. Most recently, a whole new set of calibers that Hornady Manufacturing has introduced under the label Lever Evolution calibers, the performance of which is 30 to 50% higher than the conventional lever action calibers. We service a lot of special project type markets, special makeup guns, stainless steel, multitude of different stock designs. So our strength really, I think, has been in the lever action market. So it's a marriage of both old and new that we think works.
All right, we got to take a tour of the Marlin factory and see how they make their lever actions, specifically the 336. What I have right here is a 4570 government variant of that lever action. It's the XLR. Let's go ahead and give it a try. All right, that's pretty impressive. I can understand why this gun has been around for so long and why so many people want to buy this.